Jonah was a man who loved God, but one day he received an instruction he did not want to obey. God told Jonah to go to a big city called Nineveh. The people there were doing many wrong things, and God wanted Jonah to warn them so they could change their ways. But Jonah didn't like the people of Nineveh. He didn't want to go. He didn't think they deserved a second chance. So instead of traveling toward Nineveh, Jonah ran in the opposite direction, hoping to get far away from God's assignment. Jonah went down to a nearby port and found a ship that was sailing to a place called Tarshish. It was very far, far enough that Jonah thought he could escape from what God asked him to do. He paid for his ticket, walked onto the ship, and felt relieved. In his mind, he had successfully avoided the mission. As the ship moved across the sea, Jonah went below the deck, laid down, and fell into a deep sleep. But Jonah could not run from God. As the ship sailed farther, a powerful storm suddenly struck the sea. The wind roared, the waves rose high, and water started crashing into the boat. The sailors panicked. These were experienced men, strong and trained, but the storm was so fierce that even they became afraid they might die. They threw cargo overboard to lighten the ship, and they cried out to their different idols, hoping one of them would save them. While all this chaos was happening, Jonah was still asleep below deck. The captain ran down and shouted, "How can you sleep at a time like this? Get up and pray to your God. Maybe he will notice us and save our lives." When Jonah came up to the deck, he saw the storm and understood immediately. God was trying to get his attention. The sailors decided to cast lots, a way of finding out who was responsible for their trouble. The lot pointed straight to Jonah. They all turned to him and asked, "Who are you? What have you done to bring this disaster on us?" Jonah told them the truth. "I am a Hebrew, and I worship the Lord, the God who made the sea and the land. I am running away from him." The sailors were terrified. "What should we do to you so this storm will stop?" they asked. Jonah looked at the raging sea and said, "Throw me into the water, then the storm will stop. I know this storm is because of me." The sailors did not want to harm Jonah, so they tried their best to row back to land. But the storm grew even stronger. They had no choice. They prayed to God, asking for forgiveness, and then they threw Jonah into the sea. The moment Jonah hit the water, the storm stopped. The sea became calm again. The sailors were amazed. They realized the power of God and began to honor him. Meanwhile, Jonah sank beneath the waves, believing he would die. But God had a plan for him. God sent a giant fish so big that it could swallow a man whole. The fish opened its mouth, and Jonah was swallowed alive. Inside the belly of the fish, it was dark, wet, and quiet. Jonah had plenty of time to think. He realized he had tried to run from God and that it had brought him into this strange place. For the first time in a long while, Jonah prayed sincerely. He thanked God for saving him from drowning, and he asked for forgiveness. Jonah promised to obey God if he ever got another chance. For 3 days and 3 nights, Jonah stayed inside the fish, praying and thinking. God heard Jonah's prayer, and after 3 days, God commanded the fish to spit Jonah out. The giant fish swam near the shore and released Jonah onto the dry land. Jonah lay there, weak and exhausted, but grateful to be alive. He knew this was his second chance. Then God spoke to Jonah again. "Go to Nineveh and deliver the message I gave you." This time, Jonah did not argue. He got up and obeyed. He traveled to the great city and walked through the streets, telling the people, "God sees your evil actions. Turn away from them, or your city will be destroyed." The people listened. From the poorest person to the king himself, they all realized they had been living wrongly. They humbled themselves, fasted, and prayed to God for mercy. They changed their behavior. They stopped doing evil things. And God saw their hearts. Because they turned from their wrong ways, God decided not to destroy the city. But Jonah was not happy about this. He felt that the people of Nineveh didn't deserve forgiveness. He sat outside the city, angry and disappointed. God used a plant to teach Jonah a lesson. The plant grew up quickly and gave Jonah shade, and Jonah felt comfortable. But the next day, the plant withered, and Jonah became upset again. Then God spoke to him. "You care so much about this plant, but you didn't plant it or make it grow. Should I not care about the great city of Nineveh with thousands of people who do not know the right way to live?" Jonah finally understood. God's love and mercy were bigger than his own opinions. God cared for all people, even those Jonah didn't like. The story of Jonah teaches us that we can never run away from God's purpose for our lives. It also reminds us that God is full of mercy. He gives second chances not only to Jonah, but to everyone who turns back to him with a sincere heart. And above all, it shows that God's compassion is for all people, in every place, no matter who they are.